Hello and welcome to another episode of Lids Off. I am your host, Bo Snow. I'm joined today with a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, Queen?
Yes, I am Sophie. I am 34, to think about that. I play for the Kent Exiles and I'm a receiver.
And your pronouns are?
She, her.
Beautiful. So, just like every other episode, Sophie, how did football find you?
Oh, is that a story? So, I actually used to watch American football with an ex-partner. He used to play for the Exiles men's team, and I used to watch the games regularly. It was watching it on TV. He sort of taught me everything about it. When our relationship maybe started to go south, I kind of felt like I needed to do something that would maybe impress him, which sounds mental, but talks about exactly how I was as a person back then. When I used to watch his games, the coaches and the women's team always used to try and like beg me to come along to the training sessions. I was always categorically, no way, I could never do that. I'm not aggressive enough. I'm not angry. I'm not into contact sports. And watching obviously the men's team, I used to see so many injuries and I was just like, and then this one time when things was maybe going the way they shouldn't be, I thought, I'm going to give it a go. I told the coaches, they didn't believe me that I was going to go. I think they thought it was a bit of a joke. I'm this like girly girl that's never going to do anything like that. And I turned up to this training session. I think everybody thought it was a bit of a joke. They gave me his number to wear, just all the, you know,
Yeah.
but I stuck with it. And as much as maybe things weren't right in our relationship necessarily, he did show me how to do different routes and things like that. And some of his friends were really helpful as well. And they used to kind of help me train. I was really, really not confident at all. Didn't think I was very good. Didn't think that it was something that I'd be good at. Was absolutely terrified of being hit. Like, absolutely terrified. But I continued to like work really hard and I did play that first season. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Like, none. I was sent out to this game. If I'm completely honest, I don't know what route I ran, anything, but I caught a ball.
Do you remember who you were against, or?
It was Wembley.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2019, that was.
Was it still sevens?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I think they started sevens from fives.
Wow.
And it was kind of the first few seasons of doing sevens. And yeah, I caught a ball, no idea how, got hit, came off the field and didn't go back on. That was it. I was like, no, not for me. It was cool on camera and I still have the video and I just look absolutely horrified. But I stuck with the season and then I played the season after and I kind of got to know things a bit more.
What kept you coming back, even though, because everything in the world is telling me that you shouldn't, like, everything was lined up for you not to go back. So what kept you going back?
Do you know what? There were a couple of people that I was friends with, not on the team. I didn't even really make friends on the team at this point. Like, I used to go to training, not really talk, go home. But I just really enjoyed feeling like I was doing something powerful, even though I was so like timid and quiet and didn't really say much, didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't ask any questions. I just literally did what I was told. And there was just something about it. And I couldn't tell you what it was that made me stay because, as you say, everything was telling me this is not your game. But I just felt like there was something in me when I was playing that changed because when I was actually playing the game, I felt strong and I didn't feel strong in my personal life, in my general life. Like something about the game made me feel like I was. So I carried on going and I didn't always do it right. And I used to get so worried that I was doing things wrong all the time. And then there was this one season where we kept losing players because everybody was getting injured. And we had a home game and we were playing against Hearts. And I got put in, not only playing receiver at this point, but playing DB as well.
Wow.
Still had no idea what I was doing, but I could keep running up and down the field, so it was fine. And I kept looking to a girl on our team at the time called Sophie. big shout out to her, because I just looked at her every play and was like, what do I do now? And she was like, go that way, go that way, go that way. And I caught an interception, and it won
Okay.
it won the game. And still to this day don't really know how that happened, but it did. And
That's phenomenal.
from that moment, it was like everyone was cheering, and they were cheering for me, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'd never felt that kind of, I can't think of the word, but I'd never felt that before. So from that point, it was like, this is amazing, I love it. And then yeah, it did take a turn, because when I did break up with my ex-boyfriend, my whole world just sort of fell apart for a bit. And because he was such an integral part of that football life, he obviously played for the team. He used to go to all the social events. I texted my coach and was like, I don't really want to come anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm part of this world anymore. I don't think it's for me. And I was like, I don't honestly think anybody would be interested in me being there or care if I'm there or not. And my head coach, Carl, he messaged me back, because I was a wimp and I did all this over text. And he said, he like begged me to come to the Christmas drinks. And he told me something that stuck actually. He said, if I felt like I was only playing because of him, then maybe that's part of the problem. And that mindset was probably feeding my lack of confidence. He reminded me that everyone would be there because they valued me, not just because I was someone's girlfriend. So I forced myself to those drinks, which was big for me at the time, especially in the
Yeah,
headspace I
that's
was in.
really brave.
And to my surprise, everyone was genuinely happy to see me. And that night completely transformed my view on football, how I saw myself. It helped me to rebuild my confidence. And every week I'd go to training, and I might say something to someone, and people would chat to me, and everyone had chatted to me anyway, but I was so like I wasn't there to have this social aspect. I was kind of there for just to play and go home. So to have that was really, really different, and it just felt like I belonged, and for my own reasons, not for anyone else's. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely get that. Was there, because you spoke about you just turned up and kind of did what you were told, do you feel now, upon reflection, that it was maybe a bit of your self-esteem that felt like you didn't deserve that kind of respect from your teammates, or what kind of fed into that?
I think because I didn't think I was very good at it. I thought I just had that typical lack of confidence, that I thought people were laughing behind my back. They weren't, but you just automatically think, oh gosh, I've made a mistake. They're going to be laughing at me. They're going to be annoyed that I've done it wrong, or I've had that all my life. So it was just quite a normal thing for me. And I used to look for reassurance a lot. I still do, don't get me wrong,
I mean,
but
same, so do I, like, yeah.
it's more just like it was probably, yeah, what you're saying is true.
Yeah. What I find remarkable about that is that I see what you say about you've had that your whole life, and yet every chance you're getting, you're still going against everything in your bones that are telling you not to do something. So you're being brave and you're ignoring those instincts, and you're going to training and you're trying a position that is opposite to yours. Like, that's so powerful.
Yeah, I think I think back to my dad's speech at my wedding, and he said about how I am always really determined and always have been, and he told so many stories about it. And he's not wrong. I've pushed myself and thrown myself into so many things. I've run 2 marathons, done everything I did for charity, even though the first time absolutely killed me in every way. I've done sponsored swims and just things like that, because I've wanted to do it for a reason. And I don't know, there was just something about football that kept me going. And I think it was that feeling of being quite powerful and strong. And as I say, I'd never really felt that before. I'd never felt like I'm not a loud person. I'm not, someone who, wants attention or anything like that. So it's quite, so no, it's like a little secret, isn't it, that you've got, that you can always think is there.
That's really, really powerful. Really, really powerful. Your first season, so was it, we're going back now, so your first season, your confidence wasn't there. Was
Yeah,
it still your first season where you played DB and got the interception, or was that your second season?
that was my second season.
That's even more impressive because it's like you're not sure what I didn't know what I was doing, and that was just on D line. I'm just hitting the person in front of me, but you weren't sure on what you were doing, and then you decided to do that and run backwards
Yeah,
to do it, and you still did it really well. Like
I,
that's
w-
mind blowing.
I wouldn't say it was really well. I just was
I
very,
mean,
very.
you won the game, so go off, Queen. You deserve that. So then there was the Christmas party. Was this at the end of the second season?
Yeah, so that was like during the off season.
Okay.
So yeah, the last game would have been played in like July, August time. And then yeah, we had like obviously the break and then the off season. And then I think that must have been just before COVID hit. And then obviously we had yeah, COVID where obviously we were supposed to go to the finals that year and they got cancelled because of COVID. So then we didn't play for ages.
What was that like for you? Because you've just found something that's kind of given you this confidence and purpose, and now it's gone. Like, how did you manage with that?
We used to do like online training. We used to look at um playbooks online. We used to do workouts together online when we should have been at training. So Sunday morning, we'd all go on Zoom and do a workout together.
That's amazing.
And like someone would lead it, and we'd all do that. We did quizzes. Um, yeah, I think we were just all kind of really looking forward to going back, really.
I imagine that really helped kind of keeping the Exiles community active, especially during those times of like isolation for people as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think um, because obviously we kept having those different lockdowns, so then we'd have in 2021 we had the lockdown again, and then I think you were allowed to play sport in like the February after, something like that, after that Christmas. And that's when we kind of went in, we all just went in hard. We were going back into sport and we were really excited. By which point I'd kind of made a really good group of friends from this and was just really excited to spend time with them all, really.
That's amazing. So, how did it feel going back into contact again?
I'm terrified every single time. That's why I play the position I play because I try and run away.
Oh, that's really funny because the episode I've just recorded before you was with our wide receiver, and she said, "Oh, it's for the glory. I just, it's the glory." And you're like, "No, I run away from danger." There are two different kinds of wide receivers.
Yeah, you run away from people that are bigger than you. That's the
You know what? I respect it. It was a strong survival
yeah,
instinct.
yeah. No, I mean we do contact in training, and whenever we start a new season, it's like, oh, that first hit's gonna hurt. Oh, that first hit's gonna be awful. But actually, in a game situation, once you've got that first hit out of the way, it kind of doesn't matter after that. I think that's the thing that I get asked about the most actually by people because of the way I am, because of, who I am. And I'll be kind of at work and don't you get hurt? And I'm kind of like, well, yeah, actually, you're right, I do. But it's all right, it's fine.
Do you question yourself a little bit? You're like,
Am
yeah,
I
yeah.
am I mental? Sometimes, yeah.
I think it helps though, doesn't it? A little bit to be a little bit unhinged. So, how was that first season after COVID then for you? Did the dynamic of the team change? Because you said that you kind of got a closer form of friendship, kind of that bonded during isolation.
Yeah, we got like new players and stuff, which was great. I think a lot of people we'd always kind of struggled with numbers because of where our team is. Like obviously you've got other London teams, which means that everyone's fighting for players, right?
Mm.
And I think after COVID, we ended up with quite a few players, and it just felt really, really exciting to play and not be questioned about whether you're going to play both ways or not. And just to be able to focus on what you were there for. And yeah, we did. I mean, I feel like I've played a lot of seasons now, but we played really well. I'm pretty sure that was the season when we were with Warriors Birmingham.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Warriors, Birmingham, Hearts. I remember vividly those three teams because it was that first game back. It was yeah hardcore. let's say.
Yeah. Oh my God. Shit. Wow. Okay. So the season from hell after COVID with the hardest teams in the world.
Yep.
What was that like for you in terms of, because it is hard when you've got loads of rookies and then you're playing against teams of such a hard and like high caliber that hit hard and kind of what was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of went out there with like not really any expectation of what that was going to be like. It was, we lost our QB in that season quite early on. She did her ACL.
Oh no.
So we ended up with, gosh, who was our QB? I think, oh, that was the season that everyone rotated in being QB because
No way.
that's where we were at. So we had a running back that was QB at points. We had a receiver that was QB at points. We had another receiver that we just rotated people, whoever felt like they could do it. No one wanted to do it. And it was carnage. And we were actually talking about this the other day at training and laughing about it because our QB wasn't. Oh, our QB wasn't at training for some reason, and we all started throwing to each other. And we were like, "God, do you remember that season where we were actually doing this in games against the Warriors?"
In some circles, you'd say keep them guessing. It's the element of surprise. They can't prepare for it. But in other ways, oh my God, that's so like shit.
Yeah, it was, it was, it was tough. And do you know what? It's all a bit of a blur because we just, as I said, we played for our lives, literally.
I can imagine.
And yeah, we did all right. We got a few touchdowns, tried to stop some touchdowns, which we may or may not have done. May have lost 80-0 at one point, but it's fine.
Isn't it about the friends we made along the way?
We had a lovely time, you know,
There you go.
and
There
that's all
you
that
go.
matters, right? It was a long season, let's put it that way.
What was the team kind of culture like and the team dynamic at? Because that can really ebb a team.
Do you know what? We used to have so much fun, and I know that sounds
That's
crazy,
incredible. No, that's
but
amazing.
we just used to be like, if we get a catch, great. If we stop a run, amazing. If we get a touchdown, oh my goodness, amazing. We had these tiny little goals that were set by our coach, try not to throw an interception or try not to, you know, get a flag. And we did it. We had fun along the way. If we did score a touchdown, we celebrated like the most ever. And I think actually, no hate to anyone, of course. I think we used to annoy people because we were so happy on the sideline. We shouldn't have been, but we were.
How did that feed in that for you, though? As someone that kind of previously felt like she had to prove her worth, you know,
Mhm.
and value as a team, and then seeing kind of the goal, because I imagine your first introduction into the sport was score, then you're worth something, and now you've kind of drifted away from that. How was that for shifting you and your anxiety in where you felt you fit in the team?
I think because we all just came together, it didn't really matter. So, like, as long as nobody was horrendously injured, as long as we still came through as a team. Don't get me wrong, there were lots of injuries. And I think it just kind of, I didn't care because I was there with everybody and we were just doing what we wanted to do. Don't get me wrong, we would go to games and be like, oh, do we have to?
Yeah.
It it was all right. We enjoyed ourselves, and we tried our hardest. I mean, we did the exact same thing the season after. We just kept going. I think the social aspect kept us all going, really, more than anything.
That's amazing. And do you feel like where you were going into that next season, did you start to notice a change in yourself outside of football, or was it strictly like this confidence that you had while you were at Kent?
So yeah, I think it really helped with my confidence outside as well. I'd obviously come out of this relationship. I'd had to sort of rebuild myself completely, rebuild my whole life basically. And it was that season that I met my husband. Our husband, he was really excited about the fact that I played football. It was on my Hinge profile, my video of my interception.
That is incredible.
And it was something that he said, like, oh, I need to know more about this. And yeah, I didn't let him come to the first tournament of that year, but he came to the next one. And yeah, it was, I completely, I think it just helped me to kind of transform like my whole kind of aspect on life, which sounds absolutely mental from a game, playing game football, but it was just something that completely, it was my constant. And I think that's really, really important. It was the one thing that was constant throughout everything, throughout when I was really struggling and then when I was like picking myself back up. And it always has stayed that way the whole way up until now.
That's really powerful, and I'm really proud of you because so many people would have associated that game with something that wasn't so positive, and it would have just turned into a poison apple. But you've
Mm.
really taken it on board and changed it into something really meaningful, and that's really powerful.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I just think I've always been kind of, if we lose, I feel like I'm kind of the one who's like, it's okay, guys, we're all right. And I try to be that kind of positive entity for people, and I quite like that. Like,
Cornerstone of a team. If there aren't people like you, then the mood kind of crashes very quickly. So you are the backbone of the
yeah,
team. So
baby.
so going into kind of the more modern season, like what was that now? Because you've met your now husband, things are on the up, the league's changing. What's next?
Yes. So this next season, we finished the season, we went to finals. It wasn't an enjoyable finals. That was the finals that we went to where we played Teesside um in the semis.
Oof.
Yeah, and we were winning for a lot of that game
Oh,
and
no.
we lost in like the final few plays. We actually scored a touchdown and then it got disallowed, and then we we had a catch right in the like last few seconds, and it was like inches off of the end zone, and yeah, so we ended up playing for third place where we played against Solent, which everyone was gutted, everyone was sad.
Yeah. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It was it was hard, but
Hmm.
we played for third place and we won. So we got third, which seems to be kind of what we do. And that was 2020, the 2022 season. And was that 2023? I think it might have been 2023 season. Yeah, because I think Manchester played Teesside and Manchester won. You
No,
might
Teesside
remember.
won.
Did Teesside? Well, whoever
Yeah,
won.
Teesside won sevens and then went up to nines, and this is their second season of nines.
Right. So anyway, and then we went into the off season. I actually had an operation on my foot, and so I didn't play when we went back into the off season straight away when we came back from the off season, because we went back quite early. I think we went back in November, and I had the operation in September. Yeah, I had bunion surgery like an 80-year-old woman.
It happens, yeah, it happens.
I was in the room with four 80-year-olds who couldn't walk, so whatever. But I did it. I had it done.
Proud of you.
Um, yeah, so I did that, and then I think I went back in like the December. No, couldn't. No, I didn't. Scrap that. Definitely didn't go back in the December. I'd had the operation in September. I went back to training in November, which is mental in itself, and then found out I was pregnant in the November. So
Was this
I
planned or?
no, so actually in the January before that, I'd actually been told after some fertility tests that it was probably going to be very unlikely that I would get pregnant. So it was quite hard hitting, quite hard to hear. It was all I'd ever wanted. And obviously, meeting my partner, we were due to get married, and I really wanted to have a family. So to hear that that probably wouldn't happen without IVF was quite, it was tough.
Yeah.
And as I said, football was my constant. I kept going even though things were like tough for me. And yeah, in the November, I found out I was actually pregnant, which was amazing because it happened naturally. I hadn't had to have IVF. I was actually booked in to have my eggs frozen and things, um, which I then cancelled because I was like, this is amazing. Told my coaches and was like, I don't really want to speak to people about it yet. It's quite early. And then we were on the off season anyway, so we weren't really playing. So I just didn't need to explain to anyone. It was fine. And then we were due to come back to training, and I'd spoken to my coach, and he'd said, "Oh, you can help me coach. Like it'll be really good." And then I think it was 2 days before we were due to go back to training, I actually found out that I'd had a miscarriage, and it was probably the hardest I've ever been hit emotionally. Um,
Mm.
it had gone from me being the happiest I'd ever been. It didn't matter that I was going to have this baby 5 weeks before my wedding day. I changed the dress. I didn't care. You know, I was gonna be able to have the most amazing thing that so many people fight for, and I'd been told I couldn't have. And for a year, I'd convinced myself that wasn't going to happen. So to lose that was hard, really
Yeah.
hard. Obviously, I'd told my coach because I'd explained to him why I wasn't playing, and then this had happened. So it was kind of like I got through the initial, honestly, of the days, week or so, and the people we had told, which wasn't that many people, but the people we had told, a couple being some of the players on the team because they're really good friends of mine, it was people were amazing. Like they rallied around us, they brought us food, they came and sat with me while I cried. Like, people were amazing. My coach told my team why I wasn't there because obviously it was so out of character for me not to be at training. Um, and I got messages from the team, and the girls were just incredible. And yeah, it was a really, really tough couple of months. I wasn't able to do anything for a while. I didn't have a good experience with the hospital and the way the hospital treated us. I ended up waiting nearly 2 months to even have anything done about it at the hospital.
My God.
I think we found out on the 6th of January, and I think I had an operation mid-February. So that's a long time to
Oh
sort of
my
sit
God, Sophie,
sit
I'm
with it.
so sorry.
Think, it's a long time to kind of sit with that. And yeah, I had the operation in the February. Dan wasn't actually allowed to come into the surgery or into the ward with me, which I think is crazy.
What?
They wouldn't let him in. He sat there all day, um, on my own in a chair, waiting for them to operate. And I was in a ward with kind of 15 other women that were having like teeth out and warts removed from their ankles. No one really spoke to me. I wasn't allowed to eat or drink. And yeah, they'd said that Sam wasn't allowed in with me. And there was another woman there for the same reason as me, and she didn't go through with it because her partner wasn't allowed in. But I just needed it done.
Oh my God. That's horrific.
It's not what you expect. But yeah, had the operation done, came out. Sam and my mum picked me up. We came home. I went back to work 3 days later because I'd been off for like nearly 2 months. And went back to football about 2 weeks after that because I was like, well, may as well.
May as well. Oh my God. My God. You are so strong. Holy shit.
I think things like that, you can't explain how it makes you feel. You can't explain to anybody like what that situation, how it changes you. But like Sam was amazing. He was by my side the whole time, and my friends were amazing. They were all around me all the time. My coaches were saying you don't need to come back, but I wanted to. I needed normality, and football had been my constant. As I keep saying, it was my constant. It was my normality. If I went back to that, my life was going back to normal, and that's what I needed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's strong or if it's just needing normality or not. But I went back and it was like a reset. Let's start again. And yeah, we started training for the season 2024. And yeah, that was really. I had counselling, which I paid for myself because you don't get it on the NHS. And if you do, you have to wait months and months and months. So it's like, what's the point? However, there is a company called Petals, which are run through Tommy's, who shout out because they do free counselling. You just have to apply and then get given it, but people don't get told about that. So you
Okay.
have to. I had to research that myself, and I chatted to a lovely lady for a good couple of weeks every week, and it was really, really helpful to kind of rebuild, I guess. But it was the only thing I can say is that everybody was so supportive, and I don't think the problem with miscarriage is people don't talk about it, and the amount of people that came out of the woodwork that it had also happened to shocked me, like to my very core.
Really?
I put a post up on Instagram, which isn't like me, really. I've never really done things like that before. Put up the occasional one when I ran the London Marathon, or like when I got engaged, there was a little one there, but not anything sort of hard hitting. And
Hmm.
I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because people need to know that this happens and need to be aware that it's as difficult as it is. And I did. And it's probably one of my most liked posts on Instagram. It's got so many comments. I got so many messages from so many people who had also been through the same thing and like thanked me for talking about it because it's so not talked about. And it was really surprising.
That's so powerful. What do you think are kind of like the main factors that kind of stop people talking about it?
I think because you have this whole thing, don't you? When someone gets pregnant, you don't talk about it for the first 12 weeks. That's what everybody thinks. You don't talk about it because something could go wrong.
Yeah.
Why? Why don't we talk about it? Because as soon as something goes wrong, what do you need? You need support, right?
Yeah.
So if we don't tell people because we're worried something might go wrong, which is fine. If you don't want to, fine. But why
Yeah.
is that? Why is that what everybody must do? Oh, don't say anything yet because something might go wrong. Well, if something does go wrong, you need people, and I'm telling you, you need people. You need a village because going through that on your own would be, oh, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't. And fair enough. If someone was pregnant and they didn't want to tell people, again, absolutely fine. Like that's your prerogative, that's your decision.
Yeah.
Everyone's entitled to that. But having gone through what I've gone through, I think, and some people have gone through it 3, 4, 5 times. It's 1 in 4, which blows your mind.
It really? I did not know that.
Yeah, it's 1 in 4 women. And sometimes it's 2 weeks in, 4 weeks in, 6 weeks. Sometimes it's 20 weeks, sometimes it's 30 weeks, And I think another reason why people don't necessarily talk about it is because, like, I have nothing against NHS staff. Like, I've got family that work in the NHS, people that work in healthcare, whatever. But there's this kind of, like, the things that were said to me, you need to get rid of it. It needs to go. What do you mean? That's my child. It may not be a fully grown baby yet, but it's my baby. And I think that stops people from saying things because you're kind of made to feel like it's not a thing. It's a chemical imbalance. It went wrong. And I think that's the stigma that needs to be broken. And I'm not saying that, doctors and nurses don't know how to talk to people because they do. And some people have had very, very different experiences to me and have had doctors and nurses that have been so sympathetic and so lovely. But, we were not in that position. And there's a lot of people that are in a similar position to me where it was a branded it and sounds so insignificant.
That's awful. It doesn't take 5 minutes to get to know you and Sam as a couple and to get to know that your baby was wanted and then to
Yeah.
refer to them as a respectful being instead of reducing it to an it. I'm so sorry that when you went through that, that's awful.
Yeah, it was horrible, and it was something that now I kind of look back on and I think that's why I want to make it more, like, people to know about it more, because people
Yeah.
should talk about it. People should be able to support people. Women should be supporting women, and
Mm,
men should be supporting men. It shouldn't just be people supporting me. It should have been people supporting Sam
yeah.
as well. The fact that he wasn't allowed in, that's his child too.
Yeah, that's horrific.
And yeah, that was the reason why I wanted to write that post, to make people aware. And it helped me so much. Sounds so silly, but it really helped me.
It's not. It's really powerful to kind of know that you're not alone as well and that you had a little bit more strength than others to kind of speak up about something so heartbreaking is really
Mm.
powerful. So going back to Exiles, what did they do anything differently? Did you just need the same old, or is there anything to any clubs listening that, like you said, it's 1 in 4, could do things better or more considerately for players that might go through this or are going through this?
I think my coaches were amazing. They messaged me regularly to check in, just checking in, hope you're okay, how's everything going. It was just nice that it was thoughtful. My team, it was the same. I got messages from the executives of the club to tell me that similar things had happened to them.
Wow.
And, it was, as I said, people came out of the woodwork, people you didn't expect. And I think it's just really, really important that if anybody goes through anything like that, that you just check in with them, because that's the most important thing. People just need to know you're there. I needed to know people were there. And when I went back to training, everyone gave me a hug, everyone gave me a cuddle, and oh, I'm so glad you're back. It's going to be amazing to have you back, kind of thing. It wasn't necessarily brought up, but that's fine because they might have messaged me about it. I didn't really need to talk about it by this point. I just wanted to, play. And that's what I did. I came back. I'd say I played for about 2 months, and then we went to camp. So we have an Exiles camp every year down in Sussex where we stay overnight and we have quite a few training sessions. We have some.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, we have. It's with the adult team as well, and everyone has their training sessions. Everyone does socials in the evening. We all join together. It's just a really nice bonding thing. That whole camp, I kept saying to everybody, I kept saying to my friend Tara, I kept saying to Cleo, I'm so hungry. What is wrong with me? I'm so hungry. And I'd play for like 15 minutes and be like, I actually am ravenous. Like, what is wrong with me? And nothing twigged. Nothing twigged in my brain. I've gone through this whole camp. I was getting absolutely floored by people. I was throwing myself into tackles. I didn't care. I'd lost all my inhibitions by this point. We did like tug of war with the adult mixed teams. We were having a great time. I got home and I said to Sam, I was like, I've been so hungry this whole camp. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I felt really sick. And he just looked at me and was like, hmm. And that's when I found out I was pregnant again.
No way. As if you had to wait for Sam to tell you. Like,
Well, it was another like situation because I contacted my doctor and was like, I think I might be pregnant again. They were like, oh, we need to check that it's not from before, like, that it's not just still there. And I was kind of like, oh God, we're going through this again. So I actually went for a scan with my mum because I'd convinced myself by this point that it was just from before and it wasn't anything to be excited about. And I was about 7 weeks
naturally.
pregnant. Yeah. And I'd just been to camp.
What was it like when you were at the scan and you found out?
I don't. My mum was in floods of tears. Sam didn't come because we were so convinced that it was from before that he was like, well, go with your mum because I need to go into the office and like I'll be there when you get home and we can, I'll be there and it'll be fine. And I was like, yeah, mum's here anyway. I'll go with mum. And then yeah, they were like, well, there's a heartbeat, and I was kind of like, you what? Because I mean, obviously, I'd previously been told I couldn't even have children. So this was like, what? How? And yeah, I was kind of like completely in shock for a while. I don't think we talked about it properly for about 2 months. I just was like bobbing along, thinking, nah, just sick every day. But I just was like, nah. And then I spoke to my coach. I was like, so I know you've signed me up for the season again, but I can't play again. And yeah, and then so I ended up being a coach last season instead.
And what was that like while simultaneously growing a human?
Oh my God, it was so hard to stand on the sideline and watch everyone play. So now my cat wants to get out. Hold on. It's got a menagerie of animals in here. It was so hard to watch everybody on the sideline. Just wanted to play so bad. I had so much FOMO, so much jealousy. It was really hard work. I helped with sort of coaching the receivers. I would help my offensive coach on the sideline in games with kind of coming up with plays. Cleo would come to me and be like, "What can you see? What can you see? I can see this, but can you see, what can you see on that side?" And so I'd watch and be like, "Right, this is what's happening. We need to do this, 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 this." That part was really fun. I really enjoyed that, but I did find it really difficult to just
Yes,
watch. And then they got into the finals, which I think were in Cheshire.
yes, they were. They beat
Uh,
us very well. Cleo did very well. The whole of Exile did really well.
I didn't actually go to that game. I was quite far along by that point, and traveling was just not really something I wanted to do. I, unfortunately had to miss that one. But yeah, it was a different season, a different kind of season. And obviously I had a lot of anxiety about being pregnant because of what had happened previously. Um, Again, everyone was really happy for me, everyone was lovely. I had my wedding to think about, so that was something else. I got married in August. So I just I still went to every training session. I went to most of the games. I was still a big part of the team, and I couldn't have appreciated that more from my coaches to allow me to do that because I haven't got any qualifications.
I don't know. Cleo sang your praises. Like you kept turning up, so you're doing something right, clearly.
Yeah, made Cleo go to training.
So, kind of around football, were there certain elements of training or just around the football culture that kind of helped you navigate this really stressful but equally amazing time that you were going through? Because that's quite a lot on your mental health to navigate that.
Yeah, so I think as the Exiles is a very close knit, like family run club, and I think everyone's so friendly and everyone's so lovely. And I don't know if it's like that at other clubs. I really don't because I've not been to any others. But all I know is that we're all there for each other. And every session, people would ask me how I was. Every session, we'd chat about it. Oh, what do you think you're having? Or how far along are you now? Or can you feel it moving? Or, just general interest. There was nobody who just completely ignored the fact that that's what I was going through. And I think that was really nice because it just showed people were interested, and maybe, some people may not have been, but they said they were. Um, and I think being able to focus on helping other people, which is something I've always done and wanted to do. I mean, I'm a teacher, it's what I do every day. Um, that was something really, really good for me and for my mental health, for my brain, just for myself, really.
That's so powerful. So powerful. So you had the baby. What was that
Yeah.
like? You're now a
Yeah.
parent.
Yeah. So I had Mila in November. It was an interesting experience, let's say. I think I was like absolutely fine in pregnancy right up until the last month and a half. I was still going to the gym. I was still walking the dog every day. Like I was still going swimming or trying to keep active. And that last month and a half was that did not happen. This
Really?
this poor dog. I used to walk for about 15 minutes with him, and he'd be like, "Please, can we go faster?" And I'd be like, "No." um, the walks just got slower and shorter. And then yeah, I had Mila in November, and oh, it was a whirlwind. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Having a baby is not for the weak.
Mm,
Lack of sleep, just the not knowing whether what you're doing is right. That's hard. You just your life just becomes them, and that is it. Especially when like Sam went back to work, obviously it all kind of falls on you. Yeah, she had a cow's milk allergy or has a cow's milk allergy. The first sort of 2, 3 months were hardcore, screaming a lot.
really? Shit.
Yeah, until we kind of sorted milk and things for her. But yeah, she's 5 months now. She's the cutest thing ever. She's like a little Disney baby. Her eyes are adorable. I would say that she's mine. But yeah, it's changed my whole outlook on life in general, definitely. But yeah, being a parent's mad.
Yeah. So, are you returning this season then?
I went back to training after 7 weeks.
You are so fucking hardcore. This is incredible. Oh my God. What, like,
Yeah,
was
I
that
went
full
back to I
contact?
went I went back to training and my coach walked past me and was like, "Oh, hello. Why are you kitted up?" And I was like, "Because I'm training." He was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, I've been signed off by the doctor, 6 weeks. I'm allowed to train." So I went back to training. And that was, yeah, 7 weeks. So she was just over 2 months or just under 2 months. And it's on a Sunday. So it was kind of the first time I'd left her. And yeah, it wasn't full contact straight away. I didn't do
Yeah.
any full contact. Full contact. We none of us did anyway for a while. But yeah, went back in. Was like, let's go.
That is insane, but so impressive at the same time. Like, incredible. Do you feel like pregnancy has changed your body at all? Because I've had friends that have been pregnant and the baby's depleted all the calcium out of the body and they cough and they break a bone.
I have struggled with things like initially, like things like if I was on the floor, getting up quickly because of your core, obviously. Um, I've tried quite hard to do a lot of like workouts at home to kind of rebuild my core. I've been doing like gradually increasing those workouts to kind of hit workouts. I go for an hour long walk with the dog every day in the buggy. Obviously, I can because I'm not working, so I can fit that stuff in. Try and fit a workout in if she has a nap, if she has a nap. Sometimes she's just watching me do a workout because I'm like, no, I'm doing a workout and you're going to sit there and you're going to be quiet for 20 minutes while I do that. I think my biggest thing is for me has been my confidence in myself since having a baby. It's more in my head about how it's made me look, and I don't think that's necessarily all true. I think that's like a typical millennial thought process of when you look in the mirror you don't see what's really there. And I've always been quite active and really going hard in the gym and focused on how I've looked, so for that to change was really hard for me. But physically I think I definitely feel like I've slowed down a little bit. I don't know if that's just because I'm really tired.
I mean, same. And I've not grew a human, so fair.
I mean, it's 5 past 10 and I'm normally asleep, so.
And now it's rock and roll on school night as well.
But yeah, no, I don't feel like there's been any drastic changes. But as I say, I have worked really hard. From 6 weeks, I was like, right, let's try hard to kind of get things back to a form of normal. For me, my husband cycles a lot, and we're supposed to be doing London to Brighton in September. I need to. We did it a couple of years ago, but I need to get back on that bike that is in the shed and do things like that. So I've
Wow.
got I've got to build things back up.
So, have you got any kind of goals for this season coming up, or is it just a case of you're just grateful to be playing football again?
I'm really excited to be playing football again. I'm really excited to play with the girls. I'm excited to be back sort of playing with Cleo, like her obviously throwing. She's improved so much like since we last played together. So that's really exciting to kind of play on the field
Cleo's a fucking
together.
superstar, absolute
Yeah,
superstar. So,
I agree. And just to play with the girls, like I'm just really excited to do that. If I can score some touchdowns again, that would be great. I'd love to do that again. Whether I do or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I just want to go out and play. So much has happened, so much has changed. Yeah. And I think I'm excited to, even though she won't know, I'm excited to go out and do this for my daughter. Like,
100%.
I want her to know that when she's older, women's sport is amazing and it's not celebrated enough. She's going to be at that home game. My mum's going to bring her down to that home game. She's not going to know what's going on, but I don't care because she'll be there. She'll see her mum, and that's a massive thing for me.
I can't wait for her to be old enough to understand stuff like this so she can listen back at how powerful her mum is, because that's just phenomenal,
Yeah.
genuinely. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
So, have you got any kind of final words or leaving thoughts for your adoring fans? Because I can guarantee after this one there'll be plenty, my friend. Guarantee it.
Um, I want to say thank you to anybody who has helped me along the way, whether that be helping me with coaching, helping me with how to run a route, how to block someone, all of those things that are so integral for the football. And there are so many different people that have done that. I want to thank the people that were there for me when things were really tough, whether that be going through a tough breakup, whether that be, losing a baby, whether that be being pregnant again, having another baby and coming back. Anyone that was there for me, like, amazing. Thank you so much. You are all legends. My one thing to say with regards to any of it is just talk. Everyone should talk.
Mm.
Everyone should speak to people. If anyone's going through anything, people listen and people want to listen. And you think that they don't, but they do. And if anyone's going through anything, please just reach out because it will help. It will.
That's amazing. So, my final sentiments are the same as yours. Thank you to Kent for giving you and being that constant for you and seeing you grow as a woman and as a person, and seeing you use football and Kent's culture to kind of really grow and being that safe space, because it could have easily gone the other way. So I'm grateful for Kent for doing that. But most importantly, I'm grateful for you for sharing such a raw and really awful time for you and your husband, and using it to share and kind of illuminate, because like I learned something tonight about 1 in 4, and that is, if you think about how many women are in this league, like, that's scary numbers. So yeah, I think it's really powerful for what you've done, so thank you so much, because this is going to impact and change a lot of it. And I hope to the men that are listening, one, like you said when we were talking through Instagram, talk, absolutely, but most importantly, please be aware, that there are athletes in your club that might be going through this, and they might need some support. And
Yeah.
I hope they take your advice on board 100%. So yeah, that's been a really, really, I feel like it's been a different episode, but it's been a really impactful one. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me talk about it.
So with that, I've been Bo Snow,
I've been Sophie.
and this has been Lids Off. Bye.